In this video, we are going to look at record-keeping requirements. So the government is pretty clear what you need to do in order to display information for employees in case they ever have questions about their rights. You have to first display an official Fair Labor Standards Act poster. There's a federal one that's available, but there's also potentially a state one that you have to get as well. So don't forget to look into your state requirements as well. Basically, it's going to detail the Fair Labor Standards Act and the rights for this employee. You can get a copy at the Fair Labor Standards Act website. So you might be asking, well, what sort of things do I have to hold on to? Well, some of these things should be second nature to you, especially if you're in a payroll program or a human capital management program. You can hold on to this, and you have to hold on to these records for a certain period of time. The employee's full name and social, address including zip code, their birth date, especially if they're younger than 19, but you should have that always. Their gender and their occupation, time and day of week when employee's work week begins, the hours worked each day, total hours worked each work week. That should seem like a timesheet to you. Basis on which the employee's wages are paid. If they're paid hourly, they're paid on a weekly basis, or if you're paying them piecework, which is per visit, their regular hourly pay rate. Not every per visit person is going to always make per visit money. Sometimes you might have people doing chart audits and you might pay them an hourly rate where they're making $20 an hour to do chart audits. Total daily or weekly straight time earnings, total overtime earnings for the work week, all additions to or deductions from the employee's wages, total wages paid each pay period, and of course, date of payment and the pay period covered by the payment. And that excerpt is actually from the Department of Labor's website. I didn't just make that up, I promise. So how long do you have to retain this? Well, you have to retain at least 3 years payroll records, sales, and purchase records. So anything related to payroll, you need to hold on to it for at least 3 years. Now, you can purge your records, and that's something you can do. And I'm sure any attorney will probably tell you to do the same, or record retention person will probably tell you to do the same. But in other words, you need to hold on to that for at least 3 years. And when a person terminates, 3 years, and then when that 3 years comes up, then you can start to purge the records. Talk to an attorney at the Department of Labor if you're not sure. Sales and purchase records. If you're making sales, which clearly in home health you will, purchase records meaning things that you purchase for your organization. And then, of course, at least 2 years, wage computations. That includes time cards, piece rate tickets. That just basically means you need a record of all the per visit rates that are paid and all the visits that were done by the person. Wage rate tables, what are you paying them? Work and time schedules. So what time do they come to work and the time schedules that they're supposed to come through, and records of additions and deductions from wages. So if you're paying them mileage reimbursement, cell phone reimbursement, or if you're deducting from their wages, things like all their Section 125 deductions, or things like garnishments or other items as well. So just from a knowledge standpoint, I don't just tell you this stuff for my health. I tell it to you because I care, and I want you to understand that there are agencies out there who actually didn't do this. And 11 out of the 20 cases that came up this year that were reported, they said that these home health agencies did not keep accurate records. And believe it or not, one of them actually falsified records too. 1 out of the 11, of course. So 11 of them did. One actually falsified and didn't keep accurate records. And this is no joke. Out of those 11 agencies, they had to pay $6.8 million in back wages. And because of the nature of the employee reporting this and not the employer finding it on their own, basically had to pay an additional $6.8 million in liquidated damages. So in other words, the total wages that were recovered for those employees included $13.7 million. Not a small number by any means.